Good afternoon and welcome to Wild Moments, brought to you by explore.org, where we take a look at the Africam camera highlights from the week. My name is Jamez Hendrai. Way across in Cape Town is Trishala Naidu. And
Hello.
Hello, Trishala. Trishala, tell us how the spring is going in Cape Town at the moment.
It's going wonderfully. Thank you, James. I just came back from the beach before the show started.
Did you?
Yes, there's some wind.
There is some wind, is there? Oh, it's changed direction. You've had your 3 days off. Which way is it blowing? Southeast?
I can't tell, and I didn't check because it just seems to be coming from every direction. But I did manage to find a nook at the beach that was well protected. It was nice and warm.
Okay.
So it's going well.
Very nice. Okay, good. There's no wind here in South Africa, in Johannesburg, in case you're worrying. In case you are confused as to why I look confused and I seem to be clicking and flicking, it is because the power has gone off, and that means that the second screen that I have all your questions on has now disappeared, and I'm just trying to re-find it. There we go. I found it, but now I can't see you. Anyway, that's okay. You can see me. Yes. Hello, Aussie Jan. Hello. Rolling Trouble. Oh. Yes, good day. Dean HNC. Hello from Seattle. Got here just in time with my coffee. Well done, DHNC. Tris Visop. Hello. Yes, hello. And Kathy from Poland. Ready for another show. Afternoon all. Greeting from wet UK. Sugi V. Amber from Colorado, happy Thursday, and thank you for your gift of time and knowledge. Well, Amber, we do what we can. Mary Momo, hello, James. Trish, all of you watching across the world from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Geert in the Netherlands, good day to you. And Zygote, hello. And hello, James Trishard from Teresa B in Indiana. Stephanie, hello from Virginia. That's a lot of hellos, and we're very pleased to have you all on board, including the world's greatest virtual naturalist, Judy H. Hello, Judy H.
Hi, Judy H.
Nice to have you with us. Okay. Old friend of ours, Judy H., by the way, for those of you who don't know. Old and very dear friend of ours. Okay, now, so like I say, what we do in these shows, as most of you will know, is that we take a look at the highlights from the Africam cameras situated around South Africa, and you must send us your questions or comments, jokes, general insults, suggestions, if you'd like to, on whatever platform you happen to be watching the show. All right, good. Now, I think that we will move on to the first clip, which is quite an interesting one. Now, again, I was hoping to have 2 screens so that I could sort of tell you what was going on. In case you are wondering, that is a lion on the right-hand side, sneaking up on some other lions in the middle of your picture. Okay.
Oh.
So quite a fight there. many of you
So
have had a look at. Yeah, sorry, go
sorry, go
ahead,
for it,
Trish.
James. I was just saying I didn't actually see the other lion at the edge. I just saw the ones that were sitting in the
No,
puddle and the male
yes,
lion approaching. And I thought he missed, but he was actually going for the lioness on the other side.
yeah. All right, we'll tell you what's going on shortly. I will have to just have a look at the notes that have been made for me. And this is because many of you who view this camera frequently have stated what's going on here. We'll just wait for the clip to end, and then we'll have another look at it from the beginning.
This is
He
a
obviously
very
feels quite
handsome male.
satisfied. He is a very handsome male. He is in a fenced reserve, of course, which means that he doesn't have to fight too much with other males, which is why he looks like a ramp model.
Yes, he does.
Very interesting multi-directional call there. Definitely territorial. She's marking that lala palm. And then having a drink. Right. Kirsten, can we just have a quick look at the beginning of that again? All right. So what we have here is M179, the dominant male, sneaking up and apparently attacking F70, Astarte, and Greedy. And F70 is the mother of Astarte and Greedy. And we think then that M179 and Astarte return a few moments later and then head off in the same direction. Do we, though? Okay, we'll check that. M179 comes back by himself, does a bit of roaring. Yes, we see that. And then Greedy F70 return and start calling. So that's Greedy and F70 returning. Okay. So let's just keep watching. Let's just go back there. Sorry, if we can just quickly go back and let's see, because there's the young male who's Greedy, and who's lying in the patch there? Now that lioness got a collar on her?
Ooh, hard to tell. No.
I don't think so. It. So that would be Astarte and Greedy. It doesn't look like the other one's got a collar either, but definitely one of them must have. All right, so M179 attacks one of the females, possibly the mother. And a lot of the viewers are saying that although M179 is the dominant male in this area, he is not the father of F70's two youngsters, Astarte and Greedy. Now that lioness there on the right-hand side is Astarte, who we haven't seen for some time. And I say that simply because she doesn't appear to be wearing a collar. Would you agree, Trish?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've figured out what's going on there. That's 179.
I think the key is trying to figure out who he was first.
Yeah.
It's just
so that's definitely F70 calling. And why do we think? Yeah. Can we just go back there again and just make sure that that is Greedy we're looking at? Back again, if you don't mind. And there, yeah, play it from there. That's fine. So that's the big male. Now we've got Astarte. Yeah, and that's the younger male.
I think it's F7, right? She's got the collar.
Yeah, it's the male I'm worried about. I think that is greedy, though, the younger male.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Okay, well, difficult to interpret exactly what's going on there. Yeah, Trish, who do you think he attacks first?
My gut, which is basically going on nothing, just the fact that Astarte is almost or over 3 now, so she might
Yeah.
be. I mean, sure, but she might not mate, until she's about 4 years old. But that's for me. I would think that he might for her. Also, she didn't
Mm.
return with F70
Yeah.
and Rudy. And then I
Yeah.
also think that we say that they're sexually mature when they're 2.5, 3 years old, but they don't mate until they're 4 or 5. That's because there's a whole lot of competition, right? Other females in the area that they're more likely to mate with and more against.
Mm.
So if this is a smaller group, would they really have a preference? Could she just mate even though she's not at the general age in which she mates? So it's
I
kind
mean,
of all up in the air.
yeah. Or even in bigger reserves, I've definitely seen lionesses of 2.5 mating and having cubs at 3. So that's not entirely uncommon. So, and especially, yeah, in an area like this, I would imagine it's almost inevitable, like you say.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, good interpretation there that Astarte has come into estrus. Why that should have precipitated such a vicious attack, I'm not sure. Perhaps the presence of greedy caused that attack. But clearly, when F70 returns, she's not happy and she's calling. And it's not just kind of a lying on the ground territorial call. It's kind of a reactionary territorial call, which is quite common after there's been some sort of conflict like that. Very interesting. Yeah, time will tell. But as Trish says, this is a small reserve, and there are a limited number of lions. We know just about all the lions. I think we know all of them, and so the dynamics won't be exactly the same as they are in an open system. Still, rather fascinating. Yes.
Yeah,
Good.
very interesting. In
Okay.
fact, the whole idea of the lion dynamics in that area is fascinating.
Yeah.
You kind of see what the open system dynamic would have been at one point when populations were smaller and in smaller areas. So it's kind of like seeing it evolve in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Andy, you say you're seeing that F70 did bop him back. Yeah, no, I'm sure she would have. I don't think F70 has got to her age by being timid. So yes, she could easily have bopped him back. Miss Weewer, you say, so that lion was going slow attacking. Well, or he was stalking. That's exactly what cats do. They stalk slowly until they get within striking range and then they go for it. Kathy in Colorado, good morning. Looking forward to learning about the wonderful lions. Well, I hope that you learned something. Very difficult to interpret, though. Just VSOP, these were, no, we're not doing that one. We are doing that one. These two were greedy and Astarte. Earlier we didn't see the collar. The one later is mum. Oh, okay. So the two lying on the ground, you reckon were greedy and Astarte. Yeah, I think that Trish and I agreed with you there that there was no collar on that female. Greedy has mange on his side, so the last male is greedy. Good, yes, we got that one. Thank you. Saskia Brenda, no, that was F70. She was wearing a collar, not Astarte, when she returns with the male after fight. Oh, no, hang on a second now. Saskia Brenda says...
No, I think that was just when you mistakenly said Astarte instead of F70 marking by the book.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Saskia Brenda says, Astarte was never seen after the altercation. Oh, I see. Hang on a second. So that the lioness that returns with the male, with the big
F70.
male. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So she had a collar on. I didn't see that. All right. That's interesting.
So she had the collar on. So it's Astarte who didn't return, which That's why it made me think that it was her that he was going after, not F-70.
So you reckon that line has got a collar on?
It's not this. Well, we can't see here, but the line comes back in marks. You can see the collar clearly when she's calling.
Okay. Yeah, I know when she's calling, but that's a different. Yeah. That's not, that line is there, does not have a collar on. Or
no.
Does she? Okay, so, but what Saskia Brenda is saying like there, what Saskia Brenda is saying is that that line is there is F-70. So Saskia Brenda says Astarte was never seen after the altercation, and I'm going to respectfully disagree with Saskia Brenda there and say that this is Astarte and not F-70. Do you agree, Trish?
I don't see a collar here, so
no, I don't either.
I can't agree that it's F-70 because I can't see a color. I mean, there may be, it's low light. The fur could be obscuring it, but I don't see a collar.
Nor do I. Okay, well,
it would be interesting to know what the time was when they ran away and when they returned. If it was a long time or was it quite short? I'm sure Kirst will be able to tell us.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay. Rolling Trouble has summed it up very nicely. But before we move on to our next clip, soap opera at Tembe. I think that's exactly what's going on there. Thank you, Rolling Trouble. That's absolutely correct. All right. Kirsten's typing from the room next door. She says about 4 hours after. So that was when the calling was taking place. So the calling the F-70 and Greedy reappeared 4 hours after the altercation. So they went and hid somewhere or had a sleep or murdered something and ate it and then returned to the scene of the crime, as it were. Good. Super. Okay. If we have got that wrong in any way, we apologize, but I really didn't see a collar on that lioness that returned with M179. All right. Let us move on to, oh dear, what is almost certainly going to be a tragic tale. The blacksmith lapwings up in Coral have laid some more eggs. And there's a badger.
Oh no.
Naturally. There's another badger. Oh no. Go away, you beastly badger. Now, for those of you who don't know, we've watched these hapless birds lose countless clutches of eggs to civets. I think the last 2 times were civets. Maybe jackals once. No, I think it was civets twice.
White-tailed mongoose as well.
No, white-tailed mongoose. Now, I have no doubt that the badgers are looking for some eggies. And they didn't find them. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done. What an extremely uncomfortable position to be sitting in, but well done.
It looks pretty proud.
It really doesn't look comfy, that, does it? It's like sort of squatting down.
No, it doesn't. But it looks a bit smug.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I guess practice make sure that they can get their defenses in order.
Yes.
It's been a soap opera rocky ride with them too.
It's been more a horror show for them. I mean, it's been a dreadful time. How many clutches have they lost? I've seen at least 3.
Oh no, this is their third. This is their third clutch.
Okay. All right, the third that we've seen. Well, I suppose we wouldn't miss any because, well, there's so many people watching them. Okay. So the blacksmith lapwings at Nkoral are having another go. It does seem to me, however, that the predators of the area, various different kinds of carnivores, figured out that where there is a blacksmith and where the lapwing, not a blacksmith lapwing and some water, there are most likely some eggs. And I wouldn't be surprised if the alarm calling of that blacksmith lapwing actually attracted the badgers. Badgers are extremely intelligent. A lot of the carnivores are pretty clever. They problem solve, and they'll actually probably go in search of a blacksmith lapwing that's alarm calling and then look around it and see if they can find some eggies, which will be very well hidden in the soil, but often not quite well hidden enough.
Yes.
Right, we're just going to have another quick question.
I think these eggs are close to hatching. So maybe they'll be successful, but that's just phase one. Then they'll have to protect the chicks.
It's phase one of a tremendously traumatic life until they fledge at about, 42 days, I think. I can never remember. Thank you, Judy H., for I have used the overused adjective hapless to describe the lapwings. And she says, are there any hapful blacksmith lapwings? Not in my experience, no, Judy H. In my experience, there are very few hapful lapwings. I'm not actually sure if that's even a word. In my experience, they tend to be fairly hapless all, except the ones that attack me on the golf course, where there tend to be far fewer predators than there are at Coral. Thank you for that, Judy H. We're just going to go back to a couple of questions about the lions. Rose asks, when lion cubs leave their families, are they always recognized as being one of their cubs or sometimes forgotten? When lion cubs leave their families, are they always recognized as being one of their cubs or are they sometimes forgotten? Okay, Rose, families, I tend not to use the term families when I'm describing wild animals that don't live in something that we might recognize as a family, because a lion pride is very different from a human family in so much as the male really has very little to do with it, other than his role in protecting the territory. So in the core group, he doesn't have a huge role to play in terms of sort of a human family. And the reason that's important is that when you say when the cubs leave their families, well, only the males will leave. The females will stay within the pride always, unless the pride becomes enormous and then splits, but that's another discussion. So the males will move away. So the question is, are the males recognized by their siblings, parents, and sort of aunts and uncles if they return? And or are they forgotten? I don't know the answer to that. I think that they probably are possibly recognized. Certainly, I mean, Trish, I don't know if you remember this, but we've had male lions leave prides before and then return, and they are warmly greeted by the females in the pride. If they don't have young cubs, they will never be warmly greeted by their fathers again. So they'll be chased out by any adult males should they return. And I don't know if there's any recognition there, but there's certainly there might be, but it's totally normal for those big males to be chasing the younger ones away. Trish, you want to add anything to this?
It's really easy to think of groups of animals as families because it's what we do. But the reason that we recognize our families is because it's serves some purpose for us. For lions, it's not going to serve any purpose if they invest biologically or chemically in being able to recognize their kin, particularly other males. So there'd probably be little biological investment in being able to recognize your kin if you effectively in the first place, which also creates some distance in terms of thinking it's a family. It just serves no purpose because those males are going to go out and find their own territory. So while, I mean, honestly, we can't say yes or no because we're not in the head of a lion, but it's unlikely. They may be recognized, but it doesn't mean anything. So what if they return,
I think that's the key. They may be recognized, but it doesn't mean anything. They remember there's that old thing that I like to bang on about called the major histocompatibility complex, which is, if I'm not mistaken, a complex of proteins which mammals specifically, I think, use to recognize kin. And the reason that your family smells familiar to you is that major histocompatibility complex. And it's, the closer you are related to something, the more familiar that will smell. It's a suite of proteins that you can pick up unaware, or I've forgotten the biological mechanism by which you're aware of it. And that most likely occurs in the lions as well. In fact, almost certainly does. And it's how we think males recognize their youngsters. And whether they'd then recognize them after they'd been away and come back, there'd probably be that familiar smell. But as Trish says, it doesn't mean anything to them. That once they see another male coming in, it doesn't matter if he smells exactly like home, he's going to be chased out, because that's the overriding kind of instinct. But there's a nice question. I love those because they make us think and talk about such things. Right, Tris Vsop, we're going to go back to the lapwings. You say today ends the 4th week of incubation. Phew. Okay, nearly there. Tampa, you say this is the 3rd attempt. Is the 3rd attempt typically the last? No, Tampa, they won't give up at all. They'll just keep going until one of them pops its clogs, and then the other one will find another partner, and they'll just keep on trying, because really that's the whole purpose of their lives. It's not like they're going to pack it in and become foster parents, or decide to travel the world rather than raise a family. They're only going to raise a family. All right, then we're just going to go back to the lions here. Sorry, these questions are coming in a little bit afterwards. Don't males steal lionesses from prides other than male coalitions have in their territories? What? Don't males steal lionesses from prides that other male coalitions have in their territories? Oh, no, they don't, Andy. That doesn't generally happen. So where it might happen with zebra, where a zebra will come into a kinship group and kidnap a couple of ladies, it doesn't happen with lions. No, the males don't come in and take off lionesses from the pride. They'll take everything. So they'll chase the male out and take everything he owns, or get injured or die trying. Nice one, Andy. Thank you.
That really summed up a life of a male lion there, James.
Yeah, thank you. Good. Right, we've only got 4 minutes left. Let's quickly go to an unusual sighting at Olifants, just simply because it's unusual. That is not a gopher. Gosh, that is cute, eh? That really is quite cute. So cute.
It's a cane rat, if you were wondering. I think they're absolutely adorable.
Oh. I mean, that is stunning. Oh my goodness. That is so cool.
You can actually hear the cutting with the teeth.
Yes. Well, I can't because someone's banging on the roof, but I don't take your meaning. Surprised you can hear it over the wind. As you can see, the springtime in Olifants is still. There is no wind blowing. There was a breeze, a zephyr. Huh. So that's a cane rat living on the banks of the Olifants River. It is a rodent, and they normally live in little groups. So I've no doubt there are a couple more around the area, but that is an unspeakably cute animal.
It really is. They're the 3rd largest rodent, I discovered, in Africa.
In Africa?
Yeah.
After the porcupine and the?
It's 2 species of porcupine. No, there's the Cape porcupine, and then there's the crested porcupine in the North Africa, extending up into Sicily. I recently had to write a blurb for Africam.
Right.
About
but the spring hare is surely bigger than the cane rat.
But a spring hare is not a rodent.
Yes, it is.
Is this?
Yeah.
Are we sure?
It is. I'm sure.
Well,
but I'm not sure that it might be lighter than a cane rat. It might not weigh as much as a cane rat does.
cane rat maximum weight is 8 kgs, but
Yeah, I think that's bigger.
More
so spring hare looks taller, and I'm only talking about this because we saw one last week. Yeah, massive of spring hare is only 2.5 kilos. Okay, so cane rat is substantially heavier, but they're not. I mean, if you looked at them together, you'd never say that the cane rat was a more substantial animal. Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, cool. Thank you for that,
I
Trish.
saw a photo because people hunt and eat cane rats for bushmeat, and I saw a photo of this man holding what I'm going to assume is his pet cane rat because he looked quite like in love with this animal, and it was huge. It's on his back like this, holding it like a baby.
Okay, all right. I mean, I've seldom seen them actually, so yeah, they could easily, but I guess they are. They're that big. That's fantastic to learn. All right, thank you for that. Cane rats. And just quickly, before we have to go, this is quite a funny one at the end to show you just what ninnies elephants are. You've got crocodiles having a tom on the right-hand side of your picture. The elephants must know that they're there. They definitely know they're there. It's not like there's a surprise here. It's not like the crocodiles can harm the elephant.
I especially like this one at the end that's just like, I don't know where to go.
And so they all just have a mad panic and leave. And shout about it. It's the most bizarre reaction they have to all sorts of predators that could never harm them. Wild dogs are a great example. And there were no young elephants there. Those were big bulls and a couple of younger ones the other side. All of them lost their minds at the sight of a crocodile. Not so much the sight even. I mean, it was the fact that crocodiles started mucking around in the mud. It's not like they weren't there.
Anyway, and they saw it approach the first one.
Yeah,
it was just exactly what they were testing.
Yeah, quite bizarre. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us for Wild Moments. I'm sorry that we waffled on a bit long so that we had to rush through the last two, but I think the lion discussion was particularly interesting and particularly important. We will see you at the same time in the same place next week for Wild Moments, brought to you by explore.org. Bye-bye.
Bye.